Welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, created and hosted by Scott Knudsen, to explore the crossroads of horses and business. Now here's your host, Scott Knudsen.
Hi, and welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knudsen. Thank you so much for joining us today. Whether you're listening to us on the radio on KCAA, our NBC affiliate out in California, or watching our podcast on one of our many platforms, we appreciate you so much. Today, we got a special guest. Dr. Randy Harp is on the show today. He is a dean and a professor at Texas A&M Commerce School of Agriculture. Dr. Harp, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
Oh, man, I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. And I think this is the perfect time to have you on right before everybody's going back to school.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it. And as we've grown here at A&M Commerce, we have gone from a school of agriculture now to a college of agriculture.
Very cool.
And so we are very proud that we're having more and more students come here to A&M Commerce in agriculture.
So great. So let's start from the beginning. So where did the love of agriculture start for you?
I'm going to blame a few other people, I guess, somewhat like my grandmother and my dad and my brothers and so forth, too. I was raised on a family farm in extreme northeast Oklahoma, and don't hold that against me at this time. I chose to live in Texas, all right?
Absolutely.
If you know that bumper sticker, I got here as fast as I could.
There you go.
But being raised in extreme northeast Oklahoma, I was very active with livestock projects, with 4-H club, and so on, where I really just stayed. My two other brothers went on to other fields for their career, but I stayed with agriculture. And I don't know if I just didn't know what else to do, but that's what I enjoyed. And people told me when I was a high school senior, when I said, "What's a major when you go to college?" And they said, "Well, it's what you're going to put your career in." And I said, "Well, what should I do?" And they said, "Well, whatever you like doing." And so I loved being around animals, and so I majored in animal science, and I've stayed with it the entire time.
It's so cool. You knew from an early age what you want to do for your life and for your career.
Not really.
So many people don't, So
not really.
Oh, you did?
I wanted to stay in animal science. I wanted to be with animals, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you would have even said I was going to be a dean 10 years ago, I'd have told you it's crazy. If you'd have told me 25, 30 years ago that I was going to be in higher education and academics, I'd have told you you're crazy.
Right.
But so it's just one thing that really influenced me was I truly appreciated a couple professors and some graduate students and some fellow students where I went to school at Oklahoma State University. They asked me when I was a freshman and sophomore to join some of the judging teams. And I was pretty immature and I just didn't do it. And then finally as a junior, they said, "No, you gotta come on and join us with these judging teams." Well, I finally did. And the team that I happened to be, I was on a good team and we happened to be successful and we won the international contest in meat judging. And also did some livestock judging, or at least I attempted at that a little bit more too. But
Right.
The success that we had with these judging teams in college provided a network that I've had for the rest of my life and throughout my career. It also got me into graduate school because a professor then asked me to come and be his first graduate student, Dr. Dennis Stifford.
That's special.
After he had finished his PhD. And my coach, Bob Adams, was very instrumental while coaching me into what we were doing with that judging team. And it's not just about knowing what meat is or what livestock is. It's also about learning a lot of the responsibilities and the dedication and the lifelong lessons that you learn when you're doing those things. So those things have impacted me much more. And then after my master's degree, after a bachelor's degree, I thought I wanted to do one or two things, and I'm far from it now. It was after my master's degree that I got to help teach laboratories, teach labs with students and work with students as a master's student. That's when I said, "Oh, I want to go teach. I want to go teach in college." And so that is more of it. Was the success just builds on one thing on another, and you just have to keep your eyes open to see what's in front of you. And yeah, you could ask me if I'm doing today what I thought I'd be doing 10, 15 years ago. I said, no way.
But I love that, how some teachers helped you, some students helped you, but ultimately you just kept saying yes to the opportunity and doing it at a high level.
Yeah. And that's really what my career has been about. Is I always say, and I have a tagline on my email, is this, that we provide learning opportunities and career opportunities for students. And that's what it's all about. We just provide the opportunities, and the students take ahead of it. And then now I've got students that have outshined me throughout their career. And I guess that's what I'm most proud of.
Yeah. Heck yeah, that's a great feeling.
I'm being honored at the community college that I worked at for 15 years into their Agriculture Hall of Fame this coming fall. And I get the opportunity of inviting several of my students back. And when I look and see all those students and where they're at now, they've far succeeded what I've done. So they're with large corporations and companies and so forth, that I'm very, very proud of those students for what little part I had to do with them.
Oh, I think maybe a lot. When I was researching, doing some homework for the show, I saw your tagline where it said transitioning lives while providing learning and career opportunities. Right. And that's such a powerful statement, but it's what you do. And that's what university.
Several of our colleges here at A&M Commerce have that as our tagline, as transforming lives.
And that's what you do.
I put the providing learning opportunities along with it, but most of the colleges here, that's what we're here for at A&M Commerce, is to transform lives. And that's more than just memorizing something for an exam or trying to write a paper or something of that nature. Really, we're here to try to help make students think and be creative, and then move on in life. It's a lifelong learning process. When I got out of high school, I go, okay, I'm going to get a college degree, and then I'm not going to take another test in my life. That was as far from the truth as you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. Every day is a test, It just depends on how much you want to be ready for it, for sure. So where did you, I heard you went to Oklahoma State. Where did you go to get prepared to do your career?
Went to Oklahoma State for a bachelor's. Actually, a funny story is I was going to go to a community college, which I believe in community colleges. I taught at one for 15 years.
Yeah.
And my oldest brother, who was a senior at Oklahoma State, came home during the summer from summer school and said, "Randy, you going with me to orientation? You going to go back with me to orientation?" And I said, "No, I'm going to go up here to this community college." And he looked at our mother, and back then he looked at her and he said, "Mom, how many cars were going to college?" She said, "One," because we each didn't have our own car like many students today do. and I said, well, he then told me, he said, "Well, Randy, are you going to walk there or are you going to ride with me?" Well, that helped make a decision for me really quick. I rode with him, went straight on to Oklahoma State as a freshman. And
I love that. I love that. He leveraged the car. My oldest brother, my two older brothers, John and Ted, both had a tremendous influence on me as well as growing up. That's so cool. So how did you start your academic career? So when you graduated, did you go straight into teaching, or did you do something else and say, "I want to go to teaching"?
Actually, I've completed a master's degree. I went on to New Mexico State University because I had three PhD students that were at Oklahoma State finishing their PhD, and they all three went to New Mexico State as an assistant professor. Dr. Dennis Stifler, Dr. Dennis Halford, and Dr. Michael Gallion. And all three became well known either in academic or in the industry themselves. But I followed those three, and also then was the first graduate student for Dr. Stifler. And when he had me help teach class or help teach a lab and that sort of thing, that really influenced me a lot. And those challenges, again, you don't grow unless you're challenged. And so he challenged me in a lot of ways to help me grow, and truly appreciated those experiences. That led me into wanting to go teach. He asked me at that time, "Randy, do you want to go and get a doctorate? If you do, I'm going to make you take biochemistry." I said, "No way, not going to do that." So
sounds like my answer.
I ended up taking biochemistry later, and ended up going to get a doctorate later. But initially, I didn't do that. I had a master's and I went out. But I first went out as a county extension 4-H agent, and I did that to work with young people and the youth of Texas, actually, and really enjoyed my time there. But then I had an opportunity in a few months to join a faculty as an instructor with a master's to teach some of the lower level classes. And so I did that and have just stayed in that direction pretty much my whole career now, over 40 years as an academician.
Congratulations. That's so cool. And you were talking, it's a destination institution. Well, can you explain what that means?
Sure. We want Texas A&M Commerce to be the destination institution of East Texas. We want students to recognize us and see that we're the place to go. Now, there's students that will want to go out of state. There will be students that will want to get away from home. There will be students that will want to go to A&M or Texas A&M at College Station or some other large school. But there's a lot of students that don't want to go to a large school. And they want to have a little smaller, more family atmosphere. Even though the A&M Aggies are really tight-knit, there's still a family atmosphere at a regional institution that we, as you well know in some of our previous discussions, I also spent time as a faculty member at Tarleton. And so I went to Tarleton, but based on the reputation that Tarleton had at that time, and really enjoyed my years there. I came to Commerce because of the opportunity. Every time you have opportunity that outweighs the challenges, even though challenges are going to be there, you take the opportunities. That's what I've always lived by. And so I came from being a professor in animal science at Tarleton to come to Commerce in this role, first to be the director for the School of Agriculture, and then to grow into being the dean of the College of Agriculture. And so just in the last 12 years, we've grown from being a department to a school to a college. And that's, if you just stay where you're at, then you won't grow as much. But if you take advantage of those opportunities, as we've talked about, then you can continue to grow and you don't become complacent. And that's one of the main reasons I left the community college 20 years ago is when I went there, I stayed for 15 years and accomplished most of if not all of what I went there for. And I knew if I stayed there longer, I'd become complacent. And that's just not me. I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be satisfied.
That's an inspiration to the kids and to the youth and to other adults. You just keep challenging yourself. And I think that's so important, no matter what you do. And I think you've done it in life. And that's so important. So for the university, what states does Texas A&M University Commerce pull from? Is it mainly Texas or is it other states as well?
It is predominantly East and North Central Texas. The largest number of students come from area schools from Dallas. Our service area is from Fort Worth to Texarkana and from the Oklahoma line to Tyler, and pretty much everywhere in between. Especially we work with FFA, with Area 5 and Area 6 FFA groups. We host them with a lot of events, and that's our focal point, is to work and help those young people. We will get a few students from all over the country. We have students on our rodeo team coming from Canada, from Colorado, from California, from Florida, all over Georgia, all over the country, other than students from Texas.
Love it. I love it. So when we come back from break, we're going to talk about competition.
Sure.
Because you've been so successful with the judging teams, the rodeo teams, and everything. And I know rodeo is somewhat new to Commerce, so I can't wait to talk about that too. So right after the break, we'll jump into the competition aspects of the university and all your accomplishments there. So we'll be right back on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Scott will be right back with more.
Hi, I'm Scott Knutson, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups, any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hello, I'm Scott Knutson, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I want to tell you about a product I've tried and I love, and I feel the Cowboy Entrepreneur audience will as well. It's Rebellious Infusions. Rebellious Infusions, they're little packets of flavor. And you know, it gets hot in South Texas, over 100 degrees every day. And I like my water, but it's water. So I use these infusions, put them in my water. It makes it cold. It's great flavor, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's pure energy infusions. Rebellious Infusions. Go to drinkrebellious.com or on all social media platforms. Drink Rebellious. Hi, and welcome back to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show with Dr. Randy Harp, Professor and Dean at Texas A&M Commerce School of Agriculture. So, Dr. Harp, we were just talking about competition, and you've won over 12 national championship and 40 judging team. I mean, just so many awards. How do you do that? Because you have your judging teams, you have your men's and women's rodeo, and you have the stock horse. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, be happy to. That, as I talked about in the first segment, you know, that's really what's led a lot of my career is the competitive teams. I'll first brag about our rodeo team here at A&M Commerce. It's only been in existence for 8 years as an NIRA team, and Mr. Damian White is our coach, and he started. Dr. Edward Romero helped start the group, and Mr. White was brought in to coach the rodeo team. He had first been at Panola College and then come to A&M Commerce. And the first year that I was here was about the third year that he was here starting the program. And we had about 20 students that was here in rodeo. We now have between 50 and 60 students in just the 8th year. We've taken over the last 4 or 5 years, we've taken at least 1 to 3 students to the college national finals. We usually rank pretty high in our region every year. And this year we had the all-around female. The individual.
Congratulations.
So we are so proud of her and so proud of Coach White in those regards. We also in 2020 during the pandemic had the high team point-wise for the women, but didn't get to go to the college national finals. And so we're really proud of them. And our women actually this year placed 4th in the nation.
Congratulations.
You know, while I was at Tarleton, as you are a graduate of, we've always had with Bob Doty and Mark Eakin and as head coaches, and all the way back to Carl Chumney as rodeo coaches back at Tarleton. They've always had rodeo for a long time. Well, here at A&M Commerce, we had a rodeo club for many years, and then it went dormant for several years. And now we've brought it back, and we're really doing a good job with these young people.
So what was that like going to the national final? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that was great. Well, first of all, I left 102-degree weather in Texas, and it was 55 degrees in Casper, Wyoming. So that was, first of all, pretty great.
Yeah, pretty good.
This is my second year to go and attend, and some administrator from here always have gone for the last 4 or 5 years as our support our students and our program. And, the high country in Wyoming is gorgeous, and I just love to experience that as well. And the competition each night with the performances were great. You see the best of the best. As I have said to many people since I came back, there are colleges and universities across these United States that I never knew they existed, but they had a rodeo team there, and they have students that they are helping get a college education while doing something that they love and helping these students take advantage of those opportunities and growing. And so hopefully they all have bachelor's and master's degrees someday, and so they can go on with life.
That's so great. And I love how the sport of rodeo pulled everybody together, but the universities helped get them there. and
Yes, sir.
like we were talking before the show, there was so many different universities. But in the end, it's all about the student.
Yes, it's all about the student. You betcha. Again, what I said earlier is the judging or competitive team side is what kind of grew my career or got me going. And we have a livestock judging team. We've had a livestock judging team here at Commerce a few times and been successful and won some national competitions. But it's been dormant at times too, but we're really getting on gear again. Our meat judging team over the last 3 years has been reserve national champion in our division twice. Our horse judging team, we had the high individual at Fort Worth at the Fort Worth Stock Show. We had with our stock horse team, we've been regional champions and reserve champions 3 out of the last 4 years with our horse program there. And Mr. Nathan Wells is our faculty member, and Jory Getz is our graduate student that's coaching with the horse judging team. Haley Cole is coaching with our meat judging team, and then Dr. Jared Mumm is starting our livestock judging team program. And one thing that we also have, and one thing that I'm really proud of that I think you can relate to real easily, is we have a livestock show team, and we've shown boar goats, we've shown heifers, and we're going to be expanding that in the future. But this last year, we won the Herdsman Award at the Open Cattle Show at Fort Worth Stock Show. And that's who keeps their stalls the cleanest and meets the public well, and, what wins a Herdsman Award. And I was more proud of that than if a heifer came in third or first or 14th.
Absolutely.
The students really provided the leadership and the work ethic. And that's one thing you asked me, how did I get where I'm at? Well, I'm not smarter than anybody else. It's just I outwork everybody a lot of times. And that's what Dr. Stifler taught me when I was in graduate school. We may not be smarter, but if we outwork them, we're going to come on top. And I think that work ethic, being truthful, having a good work ethic, having a faith, being positive, and then being kind and serving others. And those are all important characteristics that I think drives people and leads people to success.
I love that. And if you can get those characteristics, it sure makes it a lot easier. Doesn't it? I mean, you still have to work hard, but it sure knocks down barriers when you're just kind and have that faith and you outwork other people. It just helps.
Absolutely.
Man, and that Herdsman Award, that's a big deal. And Fort Worth's a big show, and to win that's a huge accomplishment. I loved all the different people you mentioned that work with you and for the students. And it takes all of them to get those students at different high levels in their careers.
Yes, sir. Yeah, one person can't do it.
No.
It takes a team.
No.
And that's we have 6 core values for our College of Agriculture here at A&M Commerce. And teamwork is one of those. Family is another. Excellence is another, and so on, to where you have to put those things together as core values to be able to be successful.
Oh, I love that. So what are some of the benefits for competition? Like, I competed my whole life, and so have you. For someone maybe that's going to a university and they're saying, I don't know if I want to compete or not. School's enough. And can you give some advantages maybe to why they would want to, or maybe think about wanting to?
Sure. You're asking me easy questions, so I appreciate it.
I know I am, because I'm fired up. I love what you do.
To me, as I indicated a little bit earlier, college is a time where when young people are here, not looking at non-traditional students, but looking at younger people straight out of high school, it's a time for them to grow. And it's a competitive world, whether we want to realize that or not, or admit it or not, I guess. It's a competitive world. So if we're not here to teach complacency, we're here to teach that it's a competitive world. And some of the big advantages of those competitive teams is to teach that competition. But in doing so, you're teaching them dedication and responsibility and time management and money management. And you're also working with them so that they can learn to network and get to know. I told my youngest son that when he got out of high school, I said, I tore up his resume. He'd done job interview and FFA and all that, and I tore up his resume in front of him and said, okay, now you're going to college. You got to start over. And his face dropped and goes, why did you do that? But it's true. When you go to college, you start your career building all over again. You build that resume again. And, I told him that 6 out of 8 groomsmen in his wedding would be friends from college, not high school. I just went to my 50th year class reunion and met a lot of my high school classmates that I hadn't seen in 30 or 50 years. And it was great. But at the same time, I haven't seen them in 30 or 50 years, but I have seen a lot of my classmates from college.
Makes
and
sense.
Those are the ones that I've networked with and worked with in my career. And lo and behold, at his wedding, 3/4 of his groomsmen were classmates from college instead of high school. And he still had some high school buddies there. But he didn't want to believe me then, but I that was one time that I was prophetic to him. I can't claim all the time.
Yeah, Dad was right. Dad was right. I love the experiences you give your students, or they earn, getting to go to Fort Worth to such a big, prestigious show like that, or getting to go to the national finals for rodeo. And those memories and experiences, you can't replace them. For a student coming out, it gives them such a head start.
Yeah, just the things that they learn. Now here's your story. One of the things that you really learn on one of the competitive judging teams is how to ride in a van from here to Denver, Colorado, and back over a 5 or 6 day period without fussing and fighting with everybody. You learn to get along with people.
What's the secret? What's the secret to that?
You have to get along with people. You have to learn to get along with them. You may not like what somebody else does, but life is that way in your career. You may not always get along with everybody you're working with, but you have to work together as a team, and that's part of teamwork. And we start that with those students when 4, 5, or 8 or 10 gets in a van and takes off on one of the teams, and that's part of that. That's part of that career building process.
I love it. So take somebody into that van. So someone that's never been on a university trip to compete, when you leave the university, do y'all practice along the way? Do y'all stop at the convenience store every other town? Or what's that like? What's that experience like?
I'm sure we stop at convenience stores, but not to practice.
Yeah.
Yes, we will be maybe gone on a 4, 5, 6 day trip, and we practice every day. And, we may not. Those students are still responsible for their homework or quizzes or exams before they leave or when they get back. At the same time, they're practicing every day. And say in livestock judging, they may be at 3 ranches today and getting to know those ranchers. If we're going to Denver, they may stop in Oklahoma and Kansas, parts of Colorado. They may go to Colorado State University, University of Wyoming, and look at animals and practice their livestock judging. Our meat judging team will do the same. They'll stop at large meat packing plants as well as at university meat labs to practice on the way. And they get to go to the National Western at Denver, to the American Royal, to Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. There's other competitions, especially out in the panhandle of Texas with the High Plains contest at Cargill in Freona, Texas, and so forth. So to me, when I was on a judging team, that was one of the things I really enjoyed was traveling. And my wife told me the other day that I didn't keep her home as much this summer. She's a 6th grade science teacher, and so she has a couple months where she's not teaching. She wanted to stay home and do some things around the house, and I said, "No, we're going somewhere." And so I put work and taking her, and we did a lot of traveling together as well, and still get your work done and still enjoy it too. So we try to give that exposure to our students and try to train them, because some of them may be traveling. There's people out there in our agricultural industry that travel all the time. The rodeo people travel all the time. We need to train our people, our young people, to how to travel and how to prepare and how to. I've always said, that that poor performance is because of poor preparation. And so you have to prepare in order to perform. And so we may take off 4 or 5 days in advance to practice and practice. We'll be doing that week after week, but especially right before a competition, we'll really hit it hard.
That's so cool. And we're about to come up on our second break, but while you were traveling this summer, you had a very cool trip to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, a big honor.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Would you mind telling that story?
Absolutely. I had the honor and the pleasure to present a plaque to Dr. Chris Bowman, who's the CEO of Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Been friends with Chris and his family and his dad, Larry, for years down at Texas A&M. But Chris being the CEO, because of the pandemic, we couldn't do it 2 years ago. But now I presented him with a plaque of 50 years of support from 1970 to 2020 of scholarships and graduate assistantships and research funding here at A&M Commerce for when it was East Texas State University to A&M Commerce for what Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo has helped our students. And they have helped students at most all agricultural universities across the state of Texas, and especially here. So we wanted to honor them with a plaque that they can hang up. We have a duplicate hanging up in our hallway right outside my office. And
Very
so all
cool.
of our students here get to see that same thing that the people at the corporate office at Houston gets to see. So we felt that was very well deserved by Houston Livestock Show.
Absolutely. And, it's an incredible rodeo, I think, but it's even more of an incredible experience. All the good they do for so many people, young and old, and they just do so much. But with the music and the rodeo and the events, it's an incredible experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we'll be right back after this break.
Thank you for listening to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Scott will be right back with more. For more information on Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur, visit us online at cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-cups, any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hello, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I want to tell you about a product I've tried and I love, and I feel the Cowboy Entrepreneur audience will as well. It's Rebellious Infusions. Rebellious Infusions, they're little packets of flavor. And it gets hot in South Texas, over 100 degrees every day. And I like my water, but it's water. So I use these infusions, put them in my water. It makes it cold. It's great flavor, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's pure energy infusions. Rebellious Infusions. Go to drinkrebellious.com or on all social media platforms. Drink Rebellious. Hello, and welcome back to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show with Scott Knudsen, your host, and special guest, Dr. Randy Harp of Texas A&M Commerce, Dean and Professor of the School of Agriculture. And we were just talking a little bit about, competition and university and what to expect from that. So let's talk about the school itself and everything y'all are accomplishing. So I think there's a new bond for a new event center, a new facility there, isn't there?
Yes, sir. We were very proud of the Texas legislature and some of the state senators and state representatives that felt that it was important to award universities across the state with what we called a tuition revenue bond at that time. They've changed the name now, but still the award is the same. It's for construction. of new facilities for teaching and research, and for building programs. The award we received at Texas A&M Commerce is one for an agricultural multi-purpose education
Awesome.
event center. We're not going to call it a center. It is actually going to be 2 arenas that we will host horse events, rodeo events, livestock shows,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards, lifted up from there. So we will also have a new food and meat processing facility, classrooms, a multi-purpose center. Recently, over the last 5 years, West Texas A&M, with funding from the state, was able to build a new agricultural building and a new meat processing facility there as well, with a multi-purpose center and an arena. And we're not going to be exactly the same, but at the same time, some of our needs in East Texas are many of the same needs for our students in West Texas as well. And so Dr. Kevin Pond, the dean there, department head, Dr. Lance Keith, and I have visited a lot about some of their growing pains and what they went through and the things that they have and what's worked and what hasn't worked. And so our administration and myself and my faculty and some of our alumni have visited with what we need to do here. And we are in that process with the A&M system now of going through the planning phase of what that will actually be. But our goal is to be the regional hub to bring people here on campus for agricultural events, for our students to be a part of that, for education, for teaching and research, and part of the training for our students. We will be able to even offer internships for students that will be able to do some things with agriculture, especially students from Dallas that hasn't had a lot of hands-on. My number one goal really is to provide more hands-on education for students, especially if they haven't had a lot of animal husbandry or a lot of farm background. We have a lot of students still interested in agriculture, but they haven't had that experience. So we have to provide them with that hands-on experience here as part of the training. And so, when you look at what this facility is going to be, when we said earlier that we're going to transform lives, I want to quote one of my vice presidents. He said, "This facility will be transformative for our university and for the educational opportunities that we offer, not only our students, but for the region." I agree with him 100%.
That's so cool. And it's so cool the kids get to experience it, experience it going.
What I'm telling our students now is you're going to be a part of this building, part of growing. In 20 years, when you come back as an alumni, you can say, I was a part of that when that was built. I was part of that when that was growing and being the foundation being laid and so forth. So again, it's another opportunity. We talk about, and you'd asked me earlier about why students go where they go. Actually, I conducted research when I was at Carleton on why students go where they go. I've done the same thing here at A&M Commerce. And there are variations across the country. A colleague of mine out at Texas Tech did it when he was a faculty member at Texas A&M, Dr. John Rayfield. And it's different for why students go to A&M than it is for students why they come here and why they go to Tarleton. But, they pick out degree programs. They pick out what they may want to do in life. And they go select a major or a degree program that fits. Some, they want to stay close to home. As I mentioned earlier, they may want to take off away from home. And so some it's location, some it's not location. Some it's reputation of the institution. Some it is, economics. I can go to school here more economically than I can go somewhere else. And so where we are in the state of Texas, we are more economical to go to school. Cost of living is not as high as it is in other places. So there's advantages from that standpoint. So, again, I'm going to go back to why did I leave Tarleton and come here? One of those reasons was opportunity. Two was in my interview, I asked this faculty, why should I come there? And they said, because we're smaller and we're a family. And so that's one of our core values is that we're a family. And so we have that opportunity to grow together because families grow together.
I love that. I love that so much.
Hopefully that
and
helps
they do.
with
it does. And I love the facility. I love what you said earlier about the facility. It's going to give people the chance to be around animals and meat judging and livestock judging that maybe they grew up in a big city and they never was exposed to that. But now they have that opportunity to start a career. FFA, you won a national award. I was I got the Lone Star Farmer, and we both have purple jackets, So, but they've done such a great job of working inside the bigger communities, the bigger cities, and pull those out to create, jobs and opportunities. It sounds like that's what y'all are doing.
Yeah, we like to take our students to the State Fair of Texas to help out. We'd like to take them to Fort Worth Stock Show and help out. We like for them. I'm especially a big believer in internships, working with industry in a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. Internships do 2 or 3 things. And one, if you go out and work somewhere, it tells you that, hey, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I thought I did, but I don't. And then it may work where you really love that internship and they like you and they're ready for when you graduate to hire you in a heartbeat. So internships now with corporate agriculture is not just between your junior, senior year in college. It can be as early as freshman and sophomore year in college. And
it's so great
you can work
to do that early.
Yes, we offer that opportunity for students to work every summer with an internship.
I love that. And I love that you get to do it earlier so you can move your classes around and really get catered to before you become a senior to where you want to go. So it gives you opportunity to grow within your field.
Because if you go out and work in something you think you're going to do and you find out that's not it, you don't want to wait till you're ending your senior year to find that out.
No, that'd be terrible.
You want to be able to change it and move on and go do what you want to do.
Absolutely. So, as a parent, how do parents help the child select a university? Because you've been in the education field for a long time. What's the best way for a parent, maybe that's listening or watching today, to find the right school?
I'll be happy to try to answer that one.
It's a tough question.
It's a tough question. Yes, sir. As a part of my research that I did and reading other colleagues with their research that they've done at their institutions, the top 4 or 5 reasons for why students go usually is reputation, the degree program is offered, finances, mentorship, and that mentorship is where it hits home. That location is another. But that mentorship by their ag teacher, by their county agent, by their uncle, by their grandpa, by their parents, by a brother or sister, by a boyfriend or girlfriend that's going to a certain school that's already made up their mind, helps make up the mind of some students. But parents, I believe that parents need to take the students to a university and take a tour. We are happy to give a tour here anytime that it fits for them and us. We give tours all the time. And they need to go visit and meet with the faculty. They need to go visit and see what the facilities are. They need to go see, because the first question that parents always ask me, what kind of job can my son or daughter get when they get out?
End result,
Okay, they're coming in as a freshman or maybe a transfer from a community college as a junior. But what are they going to do when they finish? And so that's the first question we have to answer. And there are numerous jobs in agriculture, as you well know. So to me, I always try to answer that question first. And I have 2 or 3 pages of just job after job after job for agriculture that I will give to those parents and say, here are all the job possibilities. So start talking and thinking and see what you may want to do.
I love that. And it is such a big industry. I don't think people know how big it is. It's so large, the industry itself. Not only the horse industry.
Agriculture is the 3rd largest employer in the United States from the latest information that I've received. Oil and gas and steel and auto, and then agriculture. Texas ranks 2nd to California in number of jobs for agriculture. And in the horse industry, I mean, there is a lot of places in the state of Texas. So we have the horse programs across the state at different universities. We have students just increasing the number of students that's interested in equine every year.
Wow. I appreciate you giving those stats out because it is such a big industry. And, someone that's maybe grew up in the city might not even know what's out there or how big it is. So lots of opportunity. And you get to work with a lot of good people that have passion for what they get to do. To me, that's the best is I get to travel.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of times, you mentioned your FFA experiences. And when we have students that go across campus and visit with other groups or faculty members, or just simply get the opportunity to speak in front of a group, you can tell those students that had speaking training in FFA or 4-H. That's part of the leadership and development that we try to give our young people, not only from the high school, but we try to extend that on into the college experience as well.
Yeah, and it lasts a lifetime. That's what's so cool about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you're not just doing it. That's the test.
My second boss that I ever had told me, he said, you need to do 3 things. He said, encourage young people to do 2 of these 3 things. And he said, make every one of them take speech, because they're always speech will never hurt them if they are always being able to get up in front of a group and speak, or getting up in front of a board of directors and try to convince them of what they need to sell on or market. He also said, get a pilot's license. He said, who knows, you may be in the 4th tier of workers at this corporation, and they find out you have a pilot's license, and all of a sudden you may become the CEO's pilot, and you get to fly everywhere with the CEO.
Good point. Yeah, I love that.
Then he said, then also get your real estate license. He said, you may never use it, but at least understand real estate, because they're not making any more of it.
Yeah. I love that, because it's always about education. It's diversifying your mind a little bit.
Yes.
So you have the opportunities when they approach, and they do. The opportunities come from different places. You got to say yes and be prepared. And that's what y'all do. And so how do people find out about the university? What's the easiest? Would they just go to your website, or can you provide that?
Sure. We have a website, and just tamuc.edu/ag. And you can also look us up on the website just Google us up, and you can look up agriculture, and you'll come to the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources, and you should be able to look at the faculty, look at myself and my webpage, and you can email me anytime and several of our faculty that are on that link to that tamuc.edu/ag, or just email me at randy.harp@tamuc.edu.
Awesome. Man, well, thank you so much for providing that. It's so important, and I know they're going to look y'all up and love the university. So we have about a minute left in the show. Would you give one quick story about the National Finals Rodeo, your takeaway?
The College National Finals Rodeo?
Yes, sir.
It was exciting. Now, my wife and I like to play golf, so I played in the golf tournament there too. But that wasn't the focal point. The focal point was seeing the students. And actually, those students are focused. They're there to compete. They're there to represent their institution. But at the same time, they are very serious about what they're doing. Just like any of our other competitive teams, or a football player or basketball player, it may be at any college or university. So I really enjoyed seeing the competitive nature of those students from all over the country that were there to compete for a national championship. And for us to have a national championship with the all-around female, it was super exciting for me to be there and to witness that. And I was sitting beside a former colleague who's president at another university now, and he was excited for us too, and we were excited for his students that were winning too. So it's not jealousy; it's actually rooting for each other as well. So it's again supporting each other, and it's not a cutthroat deal as much as it is. Let's be supporting all of our students that are out there.
Well, exactly. You're supporting the youth and the kids, and that's what's so important, man. And I appreciate everything. I appreciate you coming on, Dr. Harp, with us today, and what the university's doing, and just helping the youth out with agriculture and with the horse industry.
I've always gone by one little quote or two, and I'll end with those. How's that sound?
Okay, absolutely.
Actually, Walt Disney said one of our greatest natural resources is our children.
Absolutely.
And that's paraphrased. That's not exact. But we have to look at our youth, as you mentioned, because they are the greatest natural resource that we have.
Yes, they are.
And the other one is to keep your soul clean, but your boots dirty.
I love that.
That's part of the work.
I love that.
Keep your soul clean, but your boots dirty. I found that one somewhere, and I've always tried to live a little bit by that.
That's something to live by for sure, man. Thank you for ending on those two quotes, man. They were really great. And thank you so much for being on the show.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you to all the great sponsors of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. If you or your business is interested in being a sponsor of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, please call our office at 830-992-1786 or visit our website, cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knutson, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups. Any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hello, I'm Scott Knutson, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I want to tell you about a product I've tried and I love, and I feel the Cowboy Entrepreneur audience will as well. It's Rebellious Infusions. Rebellious Infusions, they're little packets of flavor. And it gets hot in South Texas, over 100 degrees every day. And I like my water, but it's water. So I use these infusions, put them in my water. It makes it cold. It's great flavor, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's pure energy infusions. Rebellious Infusions. Go to drinkrebellious.com or on all social media platforms. Drink Rebellious.